There are two different ways that you can see the workflow log in SharePoint. First is to look at the log from the point of view of a specific item. I'd like to look at one of these particular expense reports and see what the history log looks like on a very individual item-by-item basis. The other possibility is I want to look at the entire log regardless of what item it was for. So let's see both of those ways that we can look at specific items here in our history log. First, if I'm looking at an item and I have access to the workflow, that's what this is, it's get ending date and reimburse see workflow. If I click on the hyperlink for the status, in this case completed, it will actually take me to the workflow information, and I can see that this has been logged. This is actually a very readable log entry in the history. Here's the date and time. Here's the type of an item. It was a comment that was made by the workflow, so it comes from the system account, and here's the description. So that's an easy way to be able to take a look and say, that's what was logged for this particular item. And the same thing would be true if I chose, for example, this other item, and I would see similar information. What if I want to see the entire log, though? Well, there are a couple of possibilities. The easy way to remember this is first, we probably kept the same history log for all of the workflows on our site. And if we did, then I know that its name is Workflow Space History. If I provided a different name for it, I'll need to know that name in order to get to it easily, because the easiest thing to do is for me simply to enter the URL. For example, our site is https://lynda.hostpilot.com, and all I need to do is append another / lists / and the name of the list to be able to go take a look at it. So that's very easy. This is my list name, lists, workflow history. Let's return to SharePoint and simply type lists, workflow space history, and everything else will be appended. So here's my workflow history for my site. And if I take a look, it's a little grisly, but it's not completely horrible. Here's who the user was, the date that it occurred, the type of an event, and you can find information on all these event types on the Microsoft site. And here's the description. The workflow was started in this area. There was a change state. I can sort all of these, so if I want to sort, for example, by event type, I can do that. I can sort by when an item was logged. And if I have specific things that I logged, for example, earlier we created messages like waiting on HR, waiting on VP date. So those items I can actually go in and I can either search for, because I can search in these columns, or I can filter based on a column, or I can simply just sort. So here's my entire log. As you'll notice, there's a lot of stuff here already. I have over 30 entries, most of them made by the system account, but not all of them. And here are my entries related to that particular extraction that we were doing out of the file name to show the date and to show who the actual reimbursee was. So you can find these, and it works pretty well. If you want to find a particular item in the log, you might want to start with the item itself first. So two approaches, both of them work, one for the entire log, one based on the individual instance of a workflow tied to that particular item in a list or in a library.